sorry, that's for a Democrat show.
Let me know when you're ready.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This will allow me to report.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver of Common Sense show. I'm on shrmedia.com.
Actually, I just totally screwed up. This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover's here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch a broadcast, god damn is it easy. It's so easy, even a liberal can do it. You can, 3 ways. 3 simple ways. You can go to shrmedia.com. You can go to youtube.com and search for SHR Media, or you can go to Facebook and search for SHR Media. Don't forget to hit subscribe or the like button to keep up to date on all the great shows that we have going on right here on SHR Media. Oh. Whew. Took a little breath out of me. How's everybody doing? I'm doing actually pretty good because looks like tomorrow night I'm going to go fishing with the wife and kid. Got in touch with an old friend. Caught up. Felt bad. Hey, Jenna. He recently lost his, well, I don't know about recent, but talking to him, he lost his wife and his son. I felt bad about it. Just wasn't there, didn't know. I was like, shit. But it was a good thing to get back in touch with him. It was great talking with him and his brother, and we're going to get together. Tomorrow night, I think we're going to go fishing. And we'll see from there how the rest of the weekend goes. Boop. Go to messages. Oh. Let's see what we got going on. I see this shit with, I'm going to jump ahead to it. This congresswoman, she's all happy because the White House is talking about her, and she thinks it's funny to laugh about the dead soldier and that she's involved in all of it. How fucking sick are these Democrats? She's sitting there laughing. She thinks it's a joke. And then I love the... I'll get the damn clip. The empty barrel makes the most noise. And I didn't even know what that was, so I looked it up, and it's racist. Oh, what did she do? Go home to her lexicon of racist books? The urban slang racist books? How to tell if you had a racist comment given towards you? What the fuck? Empty barrel makes the most noise is racist? Oh, my God. What can't you say... What can you say that isn't racist anymore? Everything. If you disagree with a black person, it's racist. Oh my God, it's so racist. You disagreed with them. How dare you? God forbid you have a different opinion than other people. It's racist. Do you know what tells me they know they're fucked up and they're wrong? When they sit there and pull this shit, go, oh, it's racist. It's just racist. They have nothing to back up their bullshit, so it's racist. To try to stop the conversation. See, for many years, I like what I see here. For many years, this normally would have caused the Republicans to start apologizing and backtrack and kiss ass. What did the Trump administration do? They came out and said, bullshit. We didn't say that. It's sick that you're politicizing this man's death. And it has me a little perturbed. Let's see. I'm trying to find that real quick. There's a country in Africa, Mozambique. There is rumors of vampire attacks that has triggered riots and utter chaos. I ain't shitting you. This isn't the first time I've read it. That there's just this rumor that's been running around and people are dying. And people are believing it's vampires are doing it. It has the people in an uproar. They're running around causing riots. See if it has the video here. Pretty sure it does. Hopefully there'll be no videos.
And from Joe in the Plex, we bring in 7's Jessica Hawley live in Miami Gardens, where the Congresswoman has just reacted to John Kelly's words. Jessica.
We spoke with the Congresswoman just a few minutes ago here on the North Campus of Miami-Dade College, telling her what the White House Chief of Staff John Kelly said today. Quote, he was stunned and broken-hearted by her criticism of the president's call to the widow of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson. He was in the room when the president made that phone call. This was her response.
Let me tell you what my mother told me when I was little. She said, the dog can bark at the moon all night long, but it doesn't become an issue until the moon barks back.
Is she the dog or is she the moon? I'm serious. What the fuck? Is that racist? That's got to be racist. The moon's white. That's racist. She can't say that that's racist. I mean, what the fuck? The dog can bark at the moon all night long. It's not a problem until the moon barks back. Who is she? Is she the dog or is she the moon? I mean, which one is she? So she's able to make any lie that she wants. And if anybody responds, oh my God, you can't do that. Honey, this is humanity. This is what we do. We respond to comments. Now it's attacking. If you respond to being attacked, it's attacking that person. Because they're like, oh my God, Trump's attacking a Gold Star family again. No, he isn't. He hasn't said shit about the family. He's going after this nut job, crazy woman, congresswoman. He's going at her. He hasn't done shit against the goddamn... I don't want to say goddamn, it's wrong. He hasn't said or done shit against that Gold Star family. The congresswoman was the one that brought this in. The congresswoman is the one that dragged that poor wife into this. Trump's going back, and John Kelly went back at the congresswoman, and that's it. Oh my God, they're attacking her. Fuck off. They think if they come out and say, well, look, he's attacking a Gold Star, he's attacking the military. Oh, no, we can't back him. Nope, we can't back Trump. Nope, he's attacking. Fuck you, we know what you're doing. Your tactics are weak. Damn. What do? Think you're a fucking Jedi? I'm going to finish playing the clip.
She was getting this much attention from the White House and that she was going to go home and tell her grandchildren that she's a rock star. Reporting live in Northwest Miami-Dade, Jessica Hawley, 7 News.
All right, I think this should be actually the Congresswoman, Frederica Wilson.
Joe, thank you.
Well, soon after John Kelly's criticism, Congresswoman Frederica Wilson reacted.
7's Jessica Hawley spoke to her in Northwest Miami-Dade.
After the White House Chief of Staff says he is, quote, stunned and broken-hearted, end quote, by Congresswoman Frederica Wilson's actions, this was her response.
The dog can bark at the moon all night long, but it doesn't become an issue until the moon barks back.
The criticism from the White House comes 2 days after the Congresswoman accused the president of being insensitive in his condolence call to the widow of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson. She said she was in the limo with his family when she heard the president say this.
He knew what he was signing up for, but it still hurts.
Family members of the fallen
Yes,
soldier
he
have
knew
backed
what he
up
was
her
signing
account
up
of the
for,
call.
and it still
But the
hurts. It
president
will.
maintains it's
And they're
not
cutting
true.
out a lot of what was said.
Didn't say it at all.
The congresswoman says she's been getting threatening phone calls from white nationalists, and now
Oh,
more
God.
harsh words from the White House.
You mean to tell me that
This.
I have become so important?
Oh, she just thinks it's
The
funny.
White House is following me and my word. This is amazing. It's amazing.
No, you inject yourself into this. You are putting yourself in the White House trying to stir up shit where there isn't for your political party to try to take power again. It is a sorry fucking excuse for publicity.
That is absolutely phenomenal. I have to tell my kids that I'm a rock star now.
She's going to go home and tell her kids she's a rock star after she pulled in a Gold Star family and started a bunch of shit. She thinks she's a rock star. Yeah. She's something, all right. Disgusting. Repulsive. This woman has jumped the gun multiple times, put out blatant lies. She jumped the gun on Trayvon Martin. She is one of many. Hey, we're going to get him impeached. We're going to get him impeached. The only way you're going to impeach him is if you walk in and you took his peaches from him. God, it just... Is this what we got to look forward for the next, 3+ years? Democrats acting like children? Well, I'm telling you, they act like this. I really don't think they'll be in power much longer. Or have any power, I should say, because they're really not in power. Because they're not. Or they're not supposed to be. The Republicans just have lost their balls along the way. They're starting to get them. They're finally getting it through their head. Oh shit, if we don't get off our fucking asses, we're going to get our asses voted out. And friggin' Bannon's doing a great job of that. He has them running scared right now. I mean, enough they got that goddamn budget pushed through, didn't they? Woo! And that opened it up for brain fart. Oh, for tax reform. Even Time Magazine put up an article, Senate Republicans finally got something done. They should thank Steve Bannon. After 9 months of setbacks, stumbles, and outright failure, Senate Republicans made good on at least one big campaign promise. In a vote last Thursday, the Senate passed a budget resolution and set the stage for tax cuts to be tacked onto it. The proposal drew unified Democratic opposition along with GOP Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, who thought the budget's $1.5 trillion in red ink was too much, and heads next to the House, where its odds look promising. This is another important milestone for tax reform, White House spokeswoman Sarah Huckabee Sanders told reporters Friday. Spooked at the threat facing incumbents, several big donors had entertained the ideas planted by former Trump strategist Steve Bannon. The Bannon mold of throwing the bums out seems appealing and perhaps inevitable had the GOP gone home at the end of the year with nothing to show. Without delivering on the promise to cut taxes, the GOP's leading lawmakers feared they were handing Bannon ammo as he prepared a slate of rabble-rousing challengers. I still think he's got it. He still has that power. Just because they got this little budget through doesn't mean shit. It's a nice little step, but it's a long ways to go to appeasing a lot of people. In that sense, the threat from Bannon helped rally on-the-fence lawmakers around the budget proposal. Some, like Senator John McCain of Arizona, were no fan of its details, But they also recognized failure would spell disaster for the party during next year's election. They bit the bullet, said one fundraiser for a conservative group. They didn't love it, but they knew the alternative was worse. They know they're in some deep shit coming up. Mitch McConnell's not out of the woods either. Far from it. LA Times is saying that a Steve Bannon speech coming up, or it's actually tonight, has some Republicans nervous. The California Republican Party's decision to invite right-wing provocateur and former presidential advisor Stephen K. Bannon to address its convention Friday created an unsettled concoction of excitement, dread, and rubbernecking curiosity for GOP loyalists in the state. The keynote speech in Anaheim is scheduled less than a week after Bannon, who runs the far-right website Breitbart News, called for a season of war on the GOP establishment. The threat was aimed squarely at Republicans in Washington, whom Bannon considered disloyal to President Trump and the conservative agenda. Bannon will appear before a California GOP desperate to reverse its deteriorating influence in a state where it has long been losing members and where Republican victories in statewide political races have been non-existent for a decade. His admirers hope his speech will invigorate the GOP base and lure Trump supporters outside of the party into its fold. But Republican critics worry he'll undercut efforts to rekindle the party in a state where Trump and his policies remain widely unpopular. Now remember, this is LA Times. LA Times is not a fan of Steve Bannon. By far. I like that Steve Bannon stepped away from the White House. Steve Bannon has a better chance of helping conservatives. He has a better chance of helping Trump outside the White House. And I know some people don't understand that. While he was in the White House, he had to act and behave a certain way. His hands were tied. So, outside, he could do a lot more. He's not restricted. He's not restricted on what he says, does, acts outside, because then it's not coming back directly on Trump. And there's a lot of rules and regulations of being president, having people in the White House. This gives Bannon a more open playing field to be able to attack those who are attacking Trump. And yes, that is a good thing. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and the Lone Star Radio. And we will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver of Common Sense show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
you got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cap for the stupid bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reaver of Common Sense, and you're listening to shrmedia.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Oh, I'm tired. I have no idea why. Fell asleep right before the show, too. I was asleep. I was snoring away like a lumberjack. So, a legal battle over BuzzFeed's dossier source heats up. BuzzFeed provided a few new details about how it obtained the infamous Trump dossier. Though the news outlet is still refusing to identify its source for the salacious document, citing confidentiality agreements and the First Amendment protection, the identity of BuzzFeed's source is being sought by a Russian tech executive who is suing the outlet for defamation for publishing the dossier, which was compiled last year by former British spy Christopher Steele. BuzzFeed reporter Ken Bensinger revealed that he was granted access to the dossier in December after he became aware of the intelligence report alleging that there was connection between the Trump presidential campaign and the Russian government, according to a declaration filed in federal court Monday in Miami. Bensinger said that he contacted the source in late 2016 at the suggestion of the BuzzFeed editor-in-chief Ben Smith, who is also being sued by the Russian tech executive. The source showed me a copy of the dossier and allowed me to photograph it, Bensinger said in his declaration. Before showing me a copy of the dossier, the source told me he or she would only do so if I promised him or her that it would keep his or her identity absolutely confidential. I promised the source I would not, under any circumstances, disclose his or her identity outside of BuzzFeed. The Russian tech executive wants to find out BuzzFeed's source in order to determine whether the individual provided any guidance or warnings about the claims made in the documents. The allegation against the Russian tech executives are made in the last of the 17 memos that make up Steele's report, which BuzzFeed published in full on January 10th. Dated December 13th, the final memo alleges that the tech executive from Russia was recruited under duress by Russian intelligence agency, the FSB, and used two of his tech companies to hack into the computer system of the Democratic National Committee. The tech executive has denied the claim. He is suing BuzzFeed and Smith in federal court in Miami. He is also suing Steele in London, where the former MI6 agent operates his private spy firm, Orbis Business Intelligence. BuzzFeed is arguing against disclosing its source, saying that it is protected by the First Amendment and a legal concept called reporter's privilege. I agree with the First Amendment. I agree with free speech. But this is not... This is a little bit different. This is an outright lie. If they would have done any research, they would have found out that this wasn't. This was slanderous. This was damaging everybody in it, and it was all false. So that is not, or should not be covered underneath the First Amendment. Lying is not covered underneath the First Amendment. That is not free speech. I could just go around lying. Free speech! Oh my God. Imagine our president. Hey, it's free speech. I can lie to you. In a memo submitted on Monday, BuzzFeed's attorney, Roy Black, argued that the Russian tech executive is pushing the court force BuzzFeed to violate a promise of confidentiality to a source, an act that for any journalist would constitute the ultimate breach of his or her professional ethics and sense of duty. Black also questioned the Russian tech executive. I could not say his last name if you paid me enough money. Need for the information about the source, and argued that the executive has failed to make the slightest effort to identify the source without demanding it from BuzzFeed. It is widely believed until just last week that Fusion GPS, the opposition firm that hired Steele to compile the dossier, had also provided it to BuzzFeed. Fusion, which was working on the anti-Trump project for an unidentified ally of Hillary Clinton, disseminated information contained in the dossier to numerous news outlets prior to the presidential election. Fusion briefed reporters from the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, Yahoo News, and Mother Jones on allegations made in the document. But Fusion's lawyers recently told a federal judge in Washington, D.C. that the firm did not provide the dossier to BuzzFeed. An attorney for the Russian executive in Florida said in a deposition last month that Fusion GPS has denied providing the dossier to BuzzFeed. The one thing that Fusion GPS has told us is BuzzFeed don't get the dossier from them. BuzzFeed went to them and tried to get the dossier from them, and they refused to give it to BuzzFeed. Though BuzzFeed's source remains a mystery, the universe of potential conduits is relatively small. The only others in the U.S. known to have been given a copy of the documents are members of the U.S. intelligence community. Arizona Senator John McCain and one of his longtime associates, former State Department official David Kramer. McCain and Kramer were told of the dossier in November by Sir Andrew Wood, an associate of Steele's. After discussing the dossier on the sidelines of a national security event, Kramer traveled to London to meet with Steele. He obtained a copy of the dossier and provided it to McCain on December 9th. McCain provided a copy to then FBI Director James Comey, who was already aware of the dossier because FBI agents had been in contact with Steele. This sounds like a big circle jerk. It was debunked. How quickly? But yet none of these people could debunk it. The derangement that goes with hating Trump is almost hysterical. 4 days later, Steele wrote the final memo of the dossier, the one with the allegations against the Russian IT tech executive. It's Steele has revealed in his lawsuit in London that he transmitted the final version of the dossier to Kramer based on instructions from Fusion GPS. It is not clear how the dossier was dispensed after that part. Inquiries asking McCain and Kramer whether they provided the dossier to BuzzFeed were not returned. The spokesman for BuzzFeed defended the outlet's protection of its dossier source. Protecting a source's identity is not only an important, widely held practice in any legitimate newsroom, but a matter of law according to the First Amendment. Well, then they don't have to worry about giving up because they said it's a widely held practice in any legitimate newsroom. They're not a legitimate newsroom. They're a fucking joke. They exposed this absolute false document without checking into it, knowing a lot of the allegations were unfounded, unsubstantiated, but they still ran with this article. And they want to call themselves a legitimate newsroom? Please. A legitimate newsroom would have looked into it. A legitimate newsroom wouldn't have... Oh. I guess that does make CNN an illegitimate newsroom because they ran with parts of it too. And of course, they stated that the IT tech has presented no substantial evidence to justify his misguided request that BuzzFeed turn over confidential information regarding a source, a demand which violates the basic ethics of journalism. Running that article was a violation of basic ethics of journalism, but you had no problem doing that one now, did you, BuzzFeed? You ran with it knowing and admitted that those parts of it you knew were false. You ran with it without confirming any of the information, which any legitimate newsroom would have done. So please spare me the babble about his First Amendment. We have the right to lie. I kind of skipped over, or I missed that part of the First Amendment where it says they have a right to lie. So, FBI reportedly found 2,800 government documents on a disgraced former U.S. Representative Anthony Weiner's personal laptop computer that related to his estranged wife's work as Hillary Clinton's deputy chief during her tenure as Secretary of State. 2,800 government documents on his computer that he did not have clearance to have. Yeah. The conservative group Judicial Watch reported Tuesday that the State Department received the documents from the FBI after Judicial Watch sued the department when it failed to respond to a Freedom of Information Act request. The documents were sent to Weiner's computer by Huma Abedin, a revelation that came to light in the closing days of last year's presidential campaign. This was a disturbing development. Our experience with Abedin's email suggests these Weiner laptop documents will include classified and other sensitive material. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton said in a statement, "When will the Justice Department do a serious investigation of Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin's obvious violation of law?" Judicial Watch initially sued the State Department in May of 2015 after it failed to respond to a request to produce all official emails sent or received by Abedin using a non-government address. In a court filing, the State Department said it expected to review and produce an entire cache of 2,800 documents by the end of this year. However, the government filing also suggests that some of the material is duplicative and of records that have already been made public. Last month, Weiner was sentenced to 21 months in prison after pleading guilty to sending sexually explicit texts across state lines to a 15-year-old girl. Similar indiscretions, first as a congressman and then as a candidate for New York City mayor, had screwed over Weiner's political career. Anybody remember Carlos Danger Weiner? I got like a hair or something right there at the microphone. Bugging the shit at me. Abedin has filed for a divorce from Weiner early in this year. But Weiner is in prison. And Weiner, well, his Weiner may not be getting touched. But Weiner's getting touched. Weiner's the little bitch right about now. Come here, Weiner. I got a present for you. Bubba gonna make you talk. And with that, you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and Lone Star Radio, and we will be right back. Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver of Common Sense show hosted by Jersey Joe right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires, due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network, to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic, stupid bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reaver of Common Sense, and you're listening to shrmedia.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey expansion is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, if you want to watch a live stream, it's easy, so easy, even a liberal could do it. Just go to shrmedia.com and click on the little TV button on top. YouTube or SHR TV, I forget which one. You can also go to YouTube or Facebook search for SHR Media. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the subscribe or like button to keep up to date. I mean, the list of shows that we got here has been growing in leaps and bounds. I mean, to the point that I'm going, oh, shit. I mean, for a long time, it was... not for a long time. When I first started here, it was the Rooster, the Red Rooster, something like that. Sackheads, Ken the Conservative, and me. And from there, it's grown. The Right Way with Shannon and Mike. Liberty First by Christiane Hall. Of course, we have The Unpleasant Blind Guy. The Right Guy with Ralph J. Chittum. Of course, me, Reaver of Common Sense. Money Talks with Melanie. The Drive-By Pundit Hour. Southern Sense Talk Radio. BZ Berserk Bobcat Saloon. The Lid Radio. And, of course, the flagship show, Sackheads Radio Show. So when you hit the like or subscribe, you keep up to date on all of these great shows. Like I said, and it's SHR YouTube. That's it. And it's great. I love this station. I had my choice of different stations when I first joined, but this is the one I chose. Alright, that's what it is. I'm just, the politics we got going on in our country right now, it's repulsive. It's repulsive what is going on. It's disgusting how our politicians, mostly our Democratic brothers and sisters, are acting. There is some Republicans that, well, they're not differentiating away from being a Republican or a Democrat, but their hate for Trump is strong. And it's disgusting. Oh, and I keep, we're gonna impeach him. Impeach. Yeah. Alright, with Hollywood, I'm laughing. You had Quentin Tarantino was smearing police officers. Remember that? He was attacking the police officers. Now, while he's doing that, he was protecting Harvey Weinstein while Harvey Weinstein went around sexually assaulting and raping women. They get on their soapbox and they act like they're this big and bad, and we're highly evolved from everybody else, and we know better than everybody else, but we're running around protecting criminals. According to his Thursday interview with the New York Times, while he was running around smearing police officers as murderers in 2015, Quentin Tarantino was also covering up for and enabling Harvey Weinstein's alleged crimes against women. And I'll take that alleged out there because Harvey Weinstein has admitted to it. Because of his excessive use of the N-word and those painfully awkward moments where he pretends to be black, Oscar-winning director Tarantino has to struggle for decades to earn some respect from black audiences. Well, almost 2 years ago, with his next Weinstein Company feature, The Hateful Eight, just weeks from release, Tarantino cynically believed his tickets out of that mess, his tickets to expanding his audience with a black community now capable of producing box office hits all on its own, was to embrace the noxious cop-hating Black Lives Matter movement. So in other words, what this writer was trying to put is, Tarantino thought the best way to get the black community to come out and see his movies and to back him was to join the Black Lives Matter movement, to jump on that train, jump on attacking the police officers and calling them murderers. That'll get them coming out to my movies. That'll get them backing me. Just 4 days after the murder of a New York City police officer, Tarantino made his first mistake when he stood before an anti-police rally in New York to say of our blue men in blue, I am a human being with a conscience, and when I see murder, I cannot stand by. I have to call the murdered, and I have to call the murderers, the murderers. He did this 4 days after a New York City cop is murdered. Why I never get behind any of these, the Black Lives Matter and all these feminazi bullshit movements. Where are all these protests when those black New York police officers were gunned down in cold blood? There's been several of them. Where's the scream for the murder of the black people there? It's silence. Where's all these feminazis? Women's million woman march on Hollywood with Harlan V. Weinstein. Where are they? Where are these marches? They're nowhere to be found. That means that these people are hypocrites. And all I fucking hear is crickets. That's it. Because their rhetoric is just that, rhetoric. It's nothing. It's bullshit. They're trying to cause problems where there is no problems. Well, there might be some small issues, but they're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. And I don't understand these goddamn Hollywood types. They go out here, and they've really gone on the kick lately. They go out there, and they're relying on us people. And they go out there, and they insult us. And they belittle us. And then they challenge us not to go see their movies. Okay, I could say to myself, but $100? I won't go see your fucking movie. Let it tank. And if I really want to see it that bad, I'll wait till it comes on TV. Even still then, I most likely won't even watch it. Missed my note. And Tarantino, Jesus. And it wasn't a surprise to me. The Hateful Eight tanked after glowing red hot with his two previous features. Biggest box office hits to date, his 2012 Django Unchained at $162 million, and 2009 Inglourious Bastards at $121 million. Hateful Eight bottomed out at $54 million, which probably failed to cover its promotional cost. Its worldwide gross added just another $100 million, which means the Weinstein Company probably lost money. And those other two, yeah, those aren't too good of numbers. As if all that was not bad enough, we now know that while he was smearing law enforcement as an institution filled with murderers and white supremacists, Tarantino, according to his own words, was covering for and enabling Harvey Weinstein's crimes. But what Tarantino believes were crimes like the unwanted touching of Tarantino's girlfriend, Mira Sorvino, I knew enough to do more than I did, he said, citing several episodes involving prominent actresses. There was more to it than just the normal rumors, the normal gossip. It wasn't secondhand. I knew he did a couple of these things. Tarantino said in an interview on Wednesday that he had heard about Mr. Weinstein's behavior long before those articles. His own former girlfriend, Mia Sorvino, told him about unwelcome advantage and unwanted touching by Mr. Weinstein. Everyone who was close to Harvey had heard of at least one of those incidents chronicled in the first few articles, he said. It was impossible they didn't. When he and Miss Ms. Sorvino started dating in 1995, she told him that not long before Mr. Weinstein had massaged her without asking, chased her around a hotel room, and even showed up at her apartment in the middle of the night. Tarantino now claims to be ashamed of his silence, which is fine. At least he is not pretending, as assume many others are, that he was ignorant of what was going on. He could be ashamed all he wants now. He's not ashamed. He's, oh, I'm ashamed. Please forgive me. Please come to my movies. Come work for me. I'm ashamed of myself. If you were ashamed, you would have done something back then. That shame would have etched in your stomach, turned into guilt, and you would have fucking spoke up. Nevertheless, back in 2015, when millions already in his pockets, with plenty of other producers willing to work with him, Tarantino still enabled a monster. Worse, while doing so, he smeared and smeared and smeared American police officers' own effort to put more money in his and that monster's pocket. So what will it take for Tarantino to finally be ashamed of defaming and ginning up rage against those who do not act, or excuse me, those who act when a criminal crime is committed, who do risk their lives, not their next movie, to stop that crime, and do so for what Tarantino would describe as pocket change. Tarantino, I wouldn't be surprised we hear an accusation against him. I mean, it's all falling apart in Hollywood right now. The names are dropping. People are coming out left, right, and center. Studios are paying out big time to shut people up real quick. Executives are getting fired. You know what? All these places knew it's been going on for decades upon decades and allowed it. Hillary, all these Democrats that took money from Harvey Weinstein knew it. And they shut up. They're out there pounding the pavement, screaming that they're for women, as they were protecting a sexual predator. Well, that's also Bill Clinton, too, so. Time and time and time again we have this. Time and time and time. The Democrats show just what they're truly about. And so many people just, oh, okay. But they're quick to jump on this bull. No, the Republicans are racist and they're just trying to give these millionaires tax breaks. No, they're trying to get middle class going. You have Sanders out there going, yeah, well, we're going to be raising the taxes on you, but you're be getting a bunch of free shit. No, we're not. We're not going to be getting free shit. Dumbass. It's not free. Someone pays for that. Work hard. Get a scholarship. That's free. Sort of. Nothing is ever free. Someone always gives up something for that. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and Lone Star Radio, and we will be right back. Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver of Common Sense show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires, due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network, to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic, stupid bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reaver of Common Sense, and you're listening to shrmedia.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. It is 10:05 Eastern Standard Time. Oh, I found this. I'm going to play this. This was the other night. Bernie Sanders and Ted Cruz did a little debate. And, yeah. Oh, man. Let me see if I can find a way to download this video so I can post the video onto the live stream. Oh. I'm sorry, I think Ted Cruz. I'm not a huge Ted Cruz, I've said that. I'm not a huge Ted Cruz fan. Trying to read the instruction, understand it. Worked. There we go. Now I'll forget how to do that. I'll tell you right now, I will forget how to do that. I amaze myself. I amuse myself too. So we're gonna go to this. Sorry about the delay. I just, you know how I am. Last minute, go. Yeah, but I'm gonna shake this up. I'm gonna change this a little bit. So we're gonna. All right. This is the Bernie and Ted Cruz, Bernie Sanders, Ted Cruz debate, and it was just hysterical.
What is the difference between a socialist and a Democrat on taxes?
Well, I don't know the answer to that because I don't know what other Democrats.
It's interesting. In his opening, Bernie invoked Robin Hood. And I got to say, I think Bernie fundamentally misunderstood that story. Robin Hood was robbing the tax collectors who were collecting too much taxes from the working men and women and taking it for the rich. In Bernie's analogy, it is the Democrats who are King John and the Sheriff of Nottingham. And Robin Hood is saying, tax collectors, stop hammering people who are struggling, who are laboring in the fields, who are working. Stop taking it to the castle to give out to your buddies. But, you know, John Adams said,
Bernie Sanders is sitting there trying to smile like, oh, funny. Got
you
him.
look at 2014. In 2014, of the top 20 groups that gave money to politics, I guess listening to Bernie, they were all Republican. No, that's not the case. 16 of the top 20 gave primarily to Democrats. The top 6, Act Blue, Tom Steyer, the Carpenters and Joiners Union, the City of New York, the Democratic Governors Association, the NEA, gave almost exclusively to Democrats. Where did these mysterious Koch brothers fall on the list? Number 59. Oh. So they do a good job. Look, Democrats do great with rich people. In the last 8 years under Obama, rich people got richer. You know, the most stunning thing Bernie said is, gosh, Republicans don't care about young people or old people or people struggling. That is malarkey, Bernie. Why, Bernie, I didn't interrupt you.
I'm not interrupting you.
Relax.
Come on. Sure. The Italian in me.
You know, as some might say, curb your enthusiasm.
He got him. He got him multiple times, and Bernie did not have a fucking answer. Either Bernie's getting old and senile, or he just does not have an answer. And you know what? I don't think he had an answer for him. Because acting like he's Robin Hood. Bullshit. He ain't fucking Robin Hood. He's not stealing from the rich and giving from the poor. He's stealing from the poor and giving it to the rich is what Bernie Sanders wants to do. He wants to overtax the poor. You know, it's really scary when I understand it more than he does. Oh, so last night's football game. There's a little scuffle that broke out. Raiders' Marshawn Lynch decided while he was sitting on the bench to get off his knees and run out onto the field because supposedly he was there to protect one of his buddies from getting in trouble. Well, he ended up putting his hands on a ref, pushing the ref. Of course, everybody's protecting. Oh, no. You see, he could have throttled him. He didn't. No, he came off the bench and got involved. He had no right to be in there when that happened. So he got ejected from the game. But never one to let a little thing like getting ejected for making contact with a referee get him down. Raiders running back Marshawn Lynch did his best to add to the excitement of the commute home for Raiders fans. Lynch did this by leading the BART train in a chant of "Fuck the Chiefs." Oh, sorry about that. I thought I had the video back up and running. Nope, I'm playing that video again. Sorry about that. So, I want to know what the NFL... Well, of course, NFL's not going to do anything. They're going to fine them for touching the ref, maybe a suspension. But everything else, that's nothing. That's just a good, upstanding football player, starting a chant on a bus of "Fuck the Chiefs." Fuck the Raiders. Fuck Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch. Fuck him. The same guy who never wanted publicity. And I don't want to talk to reporters. Now he has no problem talking. They're all a bunch of overpaid babies. Said it before and I'll say it again. The ones that deserve that type of money are military, our first responders. They deserve that type of money. Not a bunch of guys that are playing a fucking game. A game, people. Oh, let's see what else is there. It's a Friday night. It's a little slow, I think. If you're hearing a little extra noise, I had to turn the fan on. My fat ass is sweating. So, Vox Media editor, director, Lockhart Steele has been fired for sexual harassment. You mean a liberal media had someone fired for sexual harassment? Nah. After they all just jumped on the train when all those accusations went out. You know, they thought they were all high and mighty when Fox had all that shit going on, and they were morally superior. Now it's starting to come down to everybody else. Fox's media editor-director has been terminated effective immediately after a former employee accused him of sexual harassment. Lockhart Steele was terminated effectively immediately, CEO Jim Bankoff told staff in a memo on Thursday. According to the All, Lockhart admitted engaging in conduct that is inconsistent with our core values and is not tolerated at Vox Media. Vox Media is committed to fostering a safe and welcoming community, and it appreciates those who have been willing to speak up and share information during the course of this investigation, the memo reportedly said. Again, I'm going to probably stick my foot in my mouth. I'm going to say something that I think sometimes the sexual harassment has gone overboard. Before everybody freaks out on me, listen. I know someone who is working in an office. Walk by, co-worker, just put their hands on their shoulder and say, hey, what's up? Not just walk by, just put the hand on the shoulder, hey, what's up, and went on. Person never said anything, never said that it was not wanted, don't do that, please don't touch me. Ran straight to management, filed complaint, and the person was written up for sexual harassment. Problem is, if you go by the law, sexual harassment is not me going up and putting my hands on each other, hey, how you doing? Sexual harassment is, please don't touch me, I'm asking you not to do it again. And I walk up and do it again. How am I supposed to know it's not wanted? I mean, if I'm grabbing your ass, that's going above. But if I go up, I'm hearing that too many times lately, too. Someone doing something like that. Just a slight contact like that. And getting written up for sexual harassment. That's not sexual harassment. That's companies freaking out and just overblowing the situation. That's people being vindictive. And what's funny is the person that did that made the accusation, well, they are already on the out and out with the company. Had nothing to do with that incident, but they ended up being fired from the company shortly after. It's getting ridiculous out there. You have to let the person know that it's not wanted. Period. And if they do it again, that's harassment. Harassment is not me coming up saying, hey, you look nice today. Oh, thank you. He harassed me. He said I look nice. What? Yeah, that's not him. And too many times in today's offended culture, that's what's happening. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened in this. It was just a side note on that. This triggered my thought of that. Steele, who was managing editor at the now-defunct far-left Gawker Media, was reportedly the subject of a Medium post published last week in which former Vox Media web developer detailed alleged sexual misconduct by several employees at the company. Steele, or Vox Media, was never named in the Medium post title. Why? I'm not surprised when I hear that powerful men are fucking creeps. Oh, that is such a great title. Such a great title. I was fired a month later due to lack of productivity. No longer fearful of losing my job, I reached out to a few people I had worked with. I reported what had happened with a VP. A year later, I found out that an investigation had been done, that he had multiple victims within the company, that his punishment was being told he could not drink at corporate events any longer. Not once were real consequences doled out to any of the men who assaulted me. There were no consequences for the men with the same job title as me who had happened to work that job 2 years longer than I had. Consequences weren't given to the men who started 2 years after I had because his job title was seen as superior to mine. Consequences weren't given to my superiors because I was too afraid of being fired and didn't feel like I was able to report him. Consequences weren't given to the VP because he was too high of a position of power. Steele's firing comes after Vox Media partnered with Intel and Lady Gaga youth-focused Born This Way organization to launch an anti-online harassment initiative called Hack Harassment. The ousted executive tweeted that he was proud to announce hack harassment last January. Bankoff addressed staff on Friday, announcing that the investigation that led to Steele's firing is ongoing and encouraging others to be forthcoming. While we are not able to take swift action based on what we uncovered so far in the investigation, we're trying to stress that the investigation is not done. Sorry, that's funny. Oh my God. He's tweeting out, proud to announce hack the harassment, and he's out sexually harassing his employees. Oh my God. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and Lone Star Radio. We will be right back. Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch Reaver of Common Sense show hosted by Jersey Joe right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Hello. I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires, due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network, to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Catholics stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reaver of Common Sense, and you're listening to SHRmedia.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. It has been a blast doing the show. I love doing the show. I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody early. Thank you for listening. Now, this goes out to those who think socialized medicine is the best way to go. This is a perfect example of what happens when the government takes over. They will start controlling your life little by little. In Britain right now, the Socialized National Health Service is planning to ban obese patients and smokers for having surgery unless they lose weight or kick the habit. Under plans drawn up in Hertfordshire, the NHS say obese patients will not get non-urgent surgery until they reduce their weight or their circumstances are exceptional. The new criteria insists smokers will only get referred to operations if they have quit smoking for at least 8 weeks and will be forced to take breathalyzer tests before their referrals. They're going to take control of what you do. That's what governments do. Everyone's like, oh, we're going to get free health care. The government's going to tell us what to do. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. Here's a perfect example. One step in everything. Well, that's okay. That's a good thing. That's how it starts. They always start small. Then they start expanding. It's expanding and expanding. Till it's, well, we're not going to give treatment for this because, well, why should we treat people with cancer when it's just going to be passed on? I'm just pulling something out of my ass here, so don't come at me. Well, no, I'm just giving you a wild example. That will happen later on down the road. The plan will also see cuts in IVF provisions and provisions of medicines, causing concern the wealthy will simply pay for treatments while those on lower income will simply have to go without, the Telegraph reports. The spokesman for the Royal College of Surgeons told the paper an urgent rethink of policy was needed, which he said was discriminatory and went against the fundamental principles of the NHS. Despite the widespread assumption that smokers cost the taxpayer money, studies have found they might actually save expenditures as they die younger and require less expensive care and treatment in their older age. Smokers also pay a higher amount of taxes on their cigarettes. A 2008 study in the PLOS Medicine Journal concluded at older ages, smokers incur higher costs. Because of difference in life expectancy, however, lifetime health expenditures was highest among healthy living people and lowest for smokers. Joyce Robbins from Patients Concerned said, "This is absolutely disgraceful. We all pay our taxes, and the NHS should be there when we need it. We do not agree to a two-tier system. Other critics used a slippery slope argument to claim the ban could see other groups being prosecuted by the NHS later in time. How long before, say, someone would die diabetes? How about joggers who have heart attacks? How about cyclists that don't wear helmets? The Royal College of Surgeons also said controversial criteria drawn up by clinical commissioning groups in Hertfordshire might mean patients are refused a referral without seeing the specialist who take such or who should take such decisions. The senior vice president, Ian Ederle, said singling out patients in this way goes against the principles of the NHS. This goes against clinical guidance and leaves patients waiting long periods of time in pain and discomfort. It can even lead to worse outcomes following surgeries in some cases. There is simply no justification for these policies, and we urge all clinical commissioning groups to urgently reverse these discriminatory measures. Now, the other thing, it just clicked in my head. Or until basically said until, you would have to quit smoking or you would have to lose weight, or until the problem got too severe. So people aren't going to get treatment. The problem's going to get worse and worse. And what happens when the problem's worse? The cost goes skyrocketing up. So in their attempt to try to save money, they're actually going to cost more money. Because these people are going to go without health care now. They're not going to be fixing their problems. They're going to get worse. And when the problem's bad enough that they'll take care of it, it's going to cost millions of dollars more than it would have to originally treat them and save money. But insurances don't see that. They only can see that hand right in front of their face. They can't see down the road. And the one that I love to use that I see insurances do, they will spend a dime if on their books it says they'll save a nickel. They'll spend that dime to save a nickel. But in the meantime, if they save the dime, they'd technically be saving 15 cents at that point. However, East and North Hertfordshire CCG, which is that clinical commissioning group, and Herts Valleys, said they hope to encourage people to take more responsibility for their own health and well-being wherever possible, freeing up limited NHS resources for priority treatments. They continued this policy is designed to improve patient safety and outcome both during and immediately after non-urgent surgeries. No, but you're going to raise the cost of everything else. Or it's going to cost more, I should say, excuse me. It's going to cost more money because their health is going to get worse. No financial savings are expected as a result of these measures. We do, however, hope to improve the long-term health of our residents through the targeted stop smoking and weight loss support on offer to patients. So it is basically a forced restructuring of your life to their circumstance, to how they want you to be. Now, they did say exceptional circumstances, clinicians will allow surgery to go even ahead, even if the smoking and weight loss criteria are not met. Exceptions would be made when waiting for surgeries would be more harmful for the patient. Now, here's the other part of the question. Okay? How many lawsuits to these doctors is that going to open it up to? Because they're, well, you're a smoker, we don't think it's bad enough. And then they're going to find out that patient was worse off. Example, when I originally hurt my knee, I injured my knee, the orthopedic surgeon I went to thought I was bullshitting him. Went in for surgery, came out apologizing because the injury would show up on x-rays and stuff. But I had cracked a cartilage on the weight-bearing side of my femur. Right where the knee, where the femur connects to the tib fib, right on the weight-bearing, I cracked the cartilage. And he admitted that is painful as hell and apologized to me. If he wouldn't have done the surgery because I was a smoker, how much bad off would I have been? And it would have been his fault for me getting worse because he misdiagnosed me and made the problem get worse because I was a smoker. I get tired of it. But let's legalize smoking pot, but let's stop people from smoking cigarettes. Pisses me off. Let's see. McConnell is in some deep shit of late. Pennsylvania Senate candidate Jeff Bartos pledges not to vote for Mitch McConnell. Since announcing my campaign defeat Bob Casey for the United States Senate 6 months ago, I have traveled throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania speaking with thousands of people who sent shockwaves through the political world last year by electing Donald Trump. The people I have met voted for the president because for too long, Washington insiders and special interests have benefited greatly while hard-working Pennsylvanians have seen their jobs shipped overseas. Their savings reduced to nothing and staples of middle-class security, health care, home ownership, and education hard to achieve. I can report that what was true a year ago remains so, namely that Pennsylvania from all walks of life and political parties continue to embrace the president's reform agenda. That said, the truck drivers, farmers, factory workers, and miners I have met, whether they live in East Stroudsburg, Newcastle, Syra, remain angry with critique. Holy shit. Career politicians. I'm trying to, for some reason, my mind's trying to combine career and politician together from both parties. Increasingly, this anger is directed at Republican leadership in the United States Senate, especially Mitch McConnell. I understand their frustration, both as a candidate and a former donor to Mitch McConnell. 9 months into his new administration, Senator McConnell has failed to win passage of the pro-growth, pro-America, pro-reform agenda that Pennsylvanians are demanding. An effort to repeal Obamacare is Senator McConnell's highest profile failure. For 7 years, longer than the time America spent in winning World War II, Republican insiders promised they would repeal Obamacare. With the election of the Republican president, Senator McConnell finally had the opportunity to relieve America from the crushing burden of Obamacare unsustainable annual premium increases, but when it came time to get the job done, he failed the American people. Senator McConnell's lack of resolve and failure to lead now puts at risk pro-growth tax reform and the speedy confirmation of President Trump's critical judicial and executive branch appointees. As a conservative businessman and political outsider, I enter the race for the United States Senate to break the stranglehold that career politicians have on our government. 6 months into the campaign, I have learned that the career politicians from both parties who talk a lot but accomplish little are the biggest problem. We know that Bob Casey will not have repealed Obamacare or reform tax code. We also know that to date, Mitch McConnell cannot. Until the dysfunctional Senate leadership shows that they can deliver for the people who support the president's agenda, I will not pledge to vote for Mitch McConnell for Republican leadership. That was one that came up. Next, Mitch McConnell's #1 recruit, Josh Hawley, refuses to back McConnell for majority leader. More and others after this brief message.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver of Common Sense show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires, due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network, to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic, stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reaver of Common Sense, and you're listening to shrmedia.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. Well, this is the last segment, and then it will be the weekend. It's weird. Why that popped up. And I want everybody to have a safe weekend. Monday's Veterans Day, isn't it? And I'll be here Monday. I know Sunday I'm not watching, definitely under no circumstance, any football going on in my house because it's Veterans Day and these cocksuckers can't be respectful. They don't deserve me watching them. I mean, I'm not watching them really that much at all. A couple games here and there. I might get a little bored. Give in. Alright. But other than that. Alright, Mitch McConnell's number one recruit, Jay Hawley, who was labeled Mitch McConnell's number one recruit of the 2018 cycle, refuses to endorse McConnell for majority leader. Former White House chief strategist and Breitbart News chief executive Steve Bannon reportedly remains very interested in recruiting Hawley in his war against the establishment, which includes Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's. McConnell was reportedly first urged Hawley to run for the 2018 midterm. Josh Holmes, McConnell's former chief of staff, said that Hawley was one of the establishment Republicans' first choice for the 2018 midterm election. He was our number one recruit of the cycle. We worked our tail off to recruit Josh Hawley, whatever it is. Now, McConnell's top recruit will not commit to voting for Mitch McConnell if elected to the Senate in 2018. Hawley's spokesman responded in an email questioning whether he would back McConnell. The Senate is broken and failing the people of Missouri. Josh is running because he is not willing to tolerate the failure of the D.C. establishment any longer. He won't tolerate Claire McCaskill's failure. He won't tolerate Republican failure either. His spokesman did not respond to the follow-ups as to whether he considers McConnell part of the Washington establishment. Mitch McConnell, as majority leader, has failed twice to repeal and replace Obamacare, to pass a tax reform package, or to confirm over 200 Trump executive and judicial nominees, and to fund a wall to secure the border. Josh Holmes did not respond to a request for comment about the non-endorsement of Mitch McConnell. President Donald Trump told reporters on Monday that he understands Bannon's frustration with Senate Republicans. Steve is very committed. He's a friend of mine, and he is very committed getting things passed. Trump told reporters at the White House on Monday when asked about Bannon's decision to challenge establishment Senate Republican opposed to the president's agenda. I'm not going to blame myself, to be honest. They aren't getting the job done, Trump added. McConnell has come under fire from conservatives, including Tea Party patriots, Jenny Beth Martin, Ken something from the Senate Conservative Fund, and Freedom Works president. They have all called for Mitch McConnell and the rest of the Senate leadership to resign over their failure to repeal Obamacare, confirm Trump's executive and judicial nominees, and to fund a border wall. Establishment Republican and their operatives continue to reportedly panic over Bannon's recent strategy to line up a series of anti-establishment, populist candidates to challenge Republicans who have not pushed Trump's agenda. Bannon will reportedly primary every Senate Republican up for election in 2018 outside of Senator Ted Cruz. Bannon also met with many Republican megadonors who are frustrated by the establishment Republicans' inability to pass the Trump agenda or pass anything resembling a conservative agenda. A former White House advisor, now a senior advisor to the pro-Trump super PAC, Great American Alliance, said the Republican establishment is so hollow and lacking in ideas that they almost forced to try and latch on to our slate of populist conservatives and call them their own to survive. If Mitch McConnell's industrial complex inside the Beltway wants us to believe that these candidates are with Mitch, then they should tell us which of them are publicly aligning themselves under the McConnell flag and supporting him for majority leader. This Andy also works with Bannon, called McConnell a toxic substance in a Republican primary. Candidates are flocking to align with Bannon because they understand that the power in the Republican Party now lies in its America First anti-establishment wing. Sorry about that. So, the Republican National Committee chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel. Ronald McDonald? God. Oh. You know it's time to almost end the show and you start seeing Ronald McDonald come up. That she shares the same mission of getting a better majority for the president going into 2018. They're backing Bannon. That's a big thing. That is a big thing. Listen, I'm going to cut this short. Just a couple minutes early today. I'm going to have the weekend start a little bit early. I want to say thank you to everybody for listening this week. I appreciate it. And until Monday, have a great weekend and be safe. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hbpundit.com and shrmedia.com.